The Batman is 3 hours. 3 hours. It's directed by Matt Reeves, who did the Planet of the Apes movies. Movies I like. It's co-written by him and a man named Peter Craig. And who does it star? Well, Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Paul Dano, Jeffrey Wright, John Turturro, Andy Serkis, Colin Farrell. There's a lot of people in this movie, and a lot of them are great. I had some misgivings about this movie, though, going in. And one of those big giant misgivings was Robert Pattinson. So you know what I did? I went out and watched a few of his movies. This was all before I started reviewing movies. This movie's been on the pipeline for a while, I guess. But not long before I started doing these reviews, I watched The Lighthouse. And it was amazing. And I'm like, okay, cool. This guy's got range. This guy can do some great things with Batman. Let's do it. Let's see it. And then I read an article that said that Robert Pattinson was basing his performance of Bruce Wayne and the Batman on Kurt Cobain. And I was like, no, please don't do that. 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 He did it. Do you want to see Kurt Cobain solve fucking mysteries? Because I don't. Yeah. So, The Batman. What is it about? Well, here's a spoiler-free kind of thing. There's someone with the question marks committing murders, and the Batman's got to solve them. That's pretty much the story of The Batman. And it's a 3-hour story that takes forever to do anything and to get anywhere ever. At some point of this movie, while I'm watching it, I'm thinking to myself, for God's sakes, can there please be some action? Can he stop a mugging or something? Anything. Just do something? Can Batman do something cool, please? And there are scenes where he does do cool things, but they're few and far between. And this movie wants to emphasize Bruce Wayne / Batman's detective skills. He's supposed to be the world's best detective. He's like Sherlock Holmes, if you could beat the shit out of people at the same time, right? So this movie starts off with this promise of him being a detective. And it's boring. He just fucking stands there while the cops do all this stuff. Stands there and look at stuff, turn around, stand there and look at stuff, turn around, stand there and look at stuff, turn around, stand there and look at stuff, turn around, and just look at things. That's all he... And I'm like, all right, so can we see something? Like, I don't need an internal monologue or something like that, but can we see like some kind of geometry shapes or figures or something as he's like, looks over there. Oh, that looks like dirt that didn't come in from the window. It came in from somewhere. Oh, something to pick up on how this guy's like a really good, awesome detective, because I didn't get a feeling of that in this movie. And they try to emphasize that big time. Sure, he follows clues and he does all these things and stuff. But ultimately, the detective part of the aspect of it, I felt was largely unsatisfying. Felt they could have done more to make it, I don't know, a bit more interesting. But instead, you've got Batman who just fucking broods the whole time. And yes, I know Batman has been a brooder in the comics. But at least the Batman comics will spice in some action. Or the comics will have a smarter mystery that's more interesting and a better whodunit kind of thing. You know, all these kinds of things could have been done so much better. But the thing is, the whole linchpin in this movie is what you think of Robert Pattinson's portrayal of Batman. If you like it, I think you're going to have a good time with this movie. If you don't like it, and I fucking really don't like his acting decision to play the role in this way, and hey, I know he can act, but I just really don't like the way he acted as Bruce Wayne / Batman in this movie. Because there's no difference. And it's just, I don't like the guy. I'm not on his team. Anything like that. I found it really hard to get behind this guy. Even by the end of the movie, when they're really trying to show you his heroic side, I'm just like, maybe if you showed me that halfway through the movie instead of like the end. It's 3 hours, by the way. I said that. But I love all the other casting. John Turturro is great as Falcone. Zoe Kravitz is great as Selena Kyle / Catwoman. Paul Dano is great as the Riddler. I wish I could say Jeffrey Wright was great. Was his performance good? Sure. But Commissioner Gordon doesn't really have a character in this. I don't know, man. There's no fun in this movie. All the other Batman movies had a semblance of fun. It looks great. The music's good. The acting is great. Except for Robert Pattinson. I don't really like the Batman nose part that much and some of the things. It's distracting. Maybe I just don't like him as Batman. And it's got nothing to do with his previous career. It's just, I think he's boring in this. Really boring. And it brings the whole movie down because everyone is so interesting. Look how fucking far Colin Farrell went for his Penguin. This is as much as I want to talk about it before going into spoilers or anything like that. So let me just say, if this movie was 2 hours or less, I might have given it a 5 or a 6. But at 3 hours, you get a 3. Too long. Way too long. And dull. Takes it forever, the stuff to happen. Come on, hurry up. Shouldn't be saying hurry up with your superhero thing. Anyway, I'm going to throw this up in the air and probably talk about some spoilers. Yeah. Well, Alfred's barely in the movie. Commissioner Gordon barely has any character. The Riddler's hardly in the movie. And Batman, like the thing I think I most want to spoil the most about the Batman is I don't think he's supposed to be the world's greatest detective, and I didn't get that from him. The fight scenes aren't that quite dynamic and awesome either. So I don't find this Batman to be particularly intimidating or interesting. I guess that's the big spoiler I want to get out of the way. The movie tries in its last quarter to kind of bring you back on Batman's side. But by then, I'd already watched 2.5 hours of like just being like, this guy sucks. I don't like it. I don't even really care about spoiling the movie. There's not really that much that I liked in it. Yeah, you could probably trim an hour out of this movie, and I'd probably then maybe only give it a 5 or a 6. So I'm just going to leave it there. Wow. Kind of don't want to talk about this movie anymore. The Batman.